Aloha! Hey kids, how are you? Welcome to Friday. Today's Friday, May the 8th, and we've arrived to the last day of this week, not without some work to do. We always have work to do. So the first thing that we're going to do is whoa! Math. Yes, your favorite subject in the whole wide world. And I have a little worksheet that you're going to be working on today. Remember that we need to practice all kinds of math. The more we practice, the better we get, the smarter our brain becomes. So we're always going to have to be thinking. Now, math helps us solve problems, it helps us with numbers, it helps us counting, it helps us um, make our minds sharper and quick thinking. Okay, so that's why we practice math. Now, math is not just about numbers. Okay, that's fake. Whoever told you that is lying to your face. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go right into our worksheet. Now, this is taken from our abacus book, and I put it black and white so it's easier for you to print out if you have that capability. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and select my handy tool here and make it a little bit smaller. Okay, zooming in. Okay, now the first thing you have to do is copy and complete. You have a series of numbers and you have two bars, the top numbers and the bottom numbers. Now the result is different in each number, okay? Now they both start in 0, but this one is counting by 5s, and it's missing a lot. And I see 0, I see 5, and then I see this 45. I don't have an end number, okay? So I'm going to go, and 5 plus 5 is 10. I don't know if you can see that, so I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit thicker, okay? So, and I'm going to write on top of it again. 10. All right. And then 10 plus 5 is 15. And 15 plus 5 is 20. And then there's 25, and I'm counting in 5s. Okay. 5 plus 5 plus 5. And then we have 30. And then we have 35. And then we have 40. And if my jumping was correct, then the next number is 45, which is true. And that would make the last number 50. Okay, and if I go to the bottom row, the numbers are not exactly the same because there's 0 and then there's 50, 100, 150. What comes next? 200. So I'm counting in 50s. 200, then 250, and then 300. Oh, it looks like it didn't take my last 2. Oh, there it is. Okay. Undo that. Okay. Then 350 plus 50 is 400. And then there's 450. And if I add 50 more, I get my end result 500. Beautiful. So we've been counting. Now, I know what you're thinking. 50 is 10 times. Sorry, 500 is 10 times 50. So I'm practically multiplying this by 10. That's what I'm doing. It seems like that's what I'm doing, okay? Now, if I go down, you have pairs of questions. So you did, this is the first exercise, then you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. But they're in pairs. So you have to do 2 things in each exercise. Now 6 times 2, this is relatively simple. We practice it in our Zoomcast class on Tuesday. So 6 times 2 is 12. Now 6 times 20, what am I doing here? I'm putting a 0 at the right. Now I can do this in 2 traditional ways. The first one is, if I don't know this, I can go ahead and take that 20 and multiply it by 6 in my traditional line way, where I do my math, and 6 times 0, any number times 0 equals 0, and 6 times 2 is 12. So the end result here is 120. 120, okay? Now, I don't know if you noticed, but 120 is 12 times 10. So what do I do? I have to put the 0 at the end, my original number, just like this was my original number, and I put a 0 at the end. And transformed it into a 20, 2-digit number. 2 times 6 is da 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 da. If 6 times 2 is 12, and then 2 times 6 is also 12. But it's not the same to say 6 times 20 than to say 2 times 60. That is not the same. Or is it? Of course it is. Now 2 times 6 is 12. And 2 times 60 is 120. Another way that you can do this, the simple way. 60. Whoops. There we go. 60 times 2. 2 times 0, 0. 2 times 6 is 12. But you already knew that. You already know that any number in these orders, if I go 7 times 3, it's the same thing as if I go 3 times 7. It's the same thing. The order of my items does not change my result. The multiplication is the same. And I just proved it in these two exercises. If you didn't know that, now you know that. So what do you have to do? Well, you have to solve the rest all by yourselves. Remember, if you don't know what this result is, please don't guess. Guessing is not a part of math. Math requires you to use your brain to connect your thoughts and come with an end result. What do you have to do next? Well, in the second page, you have more complicated multiplications. So you're going to take your numbers and do it the traditional way, please. This is the only way to make sure that you're doing things right. Let's do the first one. 42 times 3, I put the 42 and my 3 at the bottom. I make my line and my multiplication so that I know what I'm doing. This isn't division, this is multiplication. I have to always know what I'm doing. It's not a plus sign, it's a multiplication sign. Now 3 times 2 is 6. That much I know. And 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, so that came out a little bit ugly, so I'm going to change it. 12. There we go. So the number here, 42 times 3, is 126. Let's wait for that one to show. There it is. You have to do that for all of these, okay? All of these, you have to do them by yourselves. And then you have word problems. You have 4 word problems. And they're all about multiplication. Okay, so I want you to read the problem carefully. For example, a lorry delivers 6 crates of cola. Cola is a drink, like Coca-Cola. A lorry is a huge truck, and crates are giant boxes. Okay, now there are 24 bottles in each crate. Imagine how big it is. So how many bottles are there? So remember that with word problems, you have to always answer the question with something that they're asking you. So whatever the math is, if you multiply this number by this number and you get a digit, then that digit represents something. Now, how many bottles there are going to be, and you're going to put this number, which has 3 digits, 2 digits, whatever, and you're going to say blah, 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 the number. I'm not doing the math for you. You have to do it by yourselves. You guys are in 4th grade, and we have to start doing the math by ourselves. We have to be autonomous, and we're going to do this the easy way. That's why I'm helping you think. You have to do the rest of these exercises, and if you have any questions, tell your parents to email me, okay? Because it's Friday, and we're not going to see each other in Zoom until Tuesday. But it's okay. You can ask me on Zoom Tuesday too, like, Miss, I didn't understand what I had to do here. Okay, so can you please explain it to me? And I will very happily explain this to you. Remember that you do not have to print this. If your parents don't have a printer, just show them on a computer and you can copy it down on your paper and notebook that you have. As long as you're doing it, I really don't need you to print it. Okay? So anyway, I will see you later in another video where we talk about different classes that we have today. So I'll see you a little later. Bye-bye.